Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Well, tonight we're going to make a garden gate card. I'm going to be using the brand new Cheerful Garden card kit. That's our new mega kit, and I'm going to be using the Grand Garden Gate die set and the Grand Garden vines to create a beautiful card for you. Now, I'm going to be using this die set again very soon because Rena's going to be joining us in an upcoming episode, and we're going to show you how we use this beautiful die set to create her wedding invitations. But tonight I'm going to do a more usable card for those of you that aren't making wedding invitations, but a way that you can use the garden gate in a regular card. And these dies are so interesting because they can be used a couple of different ways. So I want to show all of that to you tonight. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Good morning, after evening, noon to everybody.
How are you doing?
I'm doing better than horrible, much better. But I want everybody out there, all at once, we all give ourselves a big hand for getting through this day.
Yay!
And making it here to Stamp and Chat.
Yes. Yeah, it was a long day today. It was like 6 days long, wasn't it?
I don't know what it was, but it was one of those days you just find yourself, wow, what did I do today? And where was I today?
I know. I looked out the window this morning and it was dark when I got up, and I just looked out for the second time today and it's dark again, so I don't know.
Somebody posted, here, hello from sunny Milwaukee. And I guess you didn't see it until recently. And
well, she did say, well, at least it was sunny.
I saw Gina looking out the window, wondering what happened.
Wondering where my day went. All right. Well, do you have a word of the day?
I do have a word of the day.
Okay. Well, we will look forward to that. Okay, so let's get started right away then. I'm going to show you this die set. Now, this is from the brand new kit. This is called Grand Garden Gate. Let me just zoom out a little bit because this is a big one. So the Grand Garden Gate, I have mine on some magnets. This one I put in a weird spot, but this is the Grand Garden Gate die, and it's actually a 4-piece die set. And we did that for a very specific reason, which I'm going to show you tonight, a couple of different ways that you can use it. And then this is the Grand Garden Vine set. And this set is very interesting too, because this set can be used by itself. You can use this jug, you can create vines for backgrounds, you can use the little cutouts for flowers and different kinds of leaves. You can make beautiful arrangements on your card, wrap them around circles or ovals. But these were specifically designed to fit perfectly onto this gate. Oh my goodness, excuse me, sir. So you can see how they are designed perfectly for that task. And you can use either style. So we have ivy leaves here, which you can see what these look like, right? And then they go in both directions so that when you put them around the gate, the sway of the flower, of the leaves, looks exactly the same and they wrap around. Same with this one, okay? You can put them at the top here if you want. You can also use them to pop out of the vase, and then you can add some flowers in there. So there's all different kinds of ways that you can use this. Yeah, it's an urn. It's really cool, isn't it? But it could also be a vase if you wanted it to be. It's definitely an urn. It's got its little hands on its hips, so it's a little judgmental. But I love this, and I think that this is so much fun. Now, a lot of people were asking what this piece is for. And this piece actually goes across the center of the urn so that you can create a decorative piece across the center. And you can make it a different color. You can color it in. You can texturize it. Or you can use the same color so it just looks like a textured element around the center there. So
Is
that's
that-
what that's for.
Is that a Grecian urn?
It could be. It could be a Grecian urn. And then we also have, these are flowers, and these are the centers for the flowers. Then we also have extra ivy leaves. We have extra regular leaves that could be tucked in around the flowers if you wanted to just make like a little urn with flowers kind of coming down. These are also leaves. They're more oval and more graphic leaves that look really nice with this flower. They also look nice with this one. And you will notice that and these are flowers as well. They're more like a tulipy kind of flower. They all have like indentations that they put in, like scoring, so they have more detail. But you'll notice that instead of giving you one flower and one tiny dot and one tiny leaf, we put these on small plates of either 3 or 6 so that you can cut them out, cut many out at a time. Otherwise, it's kind of a nightmare to try to cut out all of these and not lose that die. So by putting these on the plates, it really does make a difference for you, and you can cut multiples at once. And a big shout out to Brianne Loveland. Hi, Brianne. I saw you in the chat. We appreciate you being here. Brianne is our linking ninja, and she's going to link for you all the products that I used tonight. And she is also the inventor of the inkstand, which I'm going to use tonight. So if you want a inkstand, Brianne, make sure you link your inkstand because you know I'm going to use it. All right, so let's talk about the gate first. Now, there are a couple different ways that you can use the gate. The first way, I'm just going to cut the gates out, the different ways that you can use them just to show you, and then we're going to actually die cut the gates, and I'm going to show you it more in action. All right, so I'm going to get a piece of cardstock here. Let's get a piece of, okay, we'll do this. We'll get a piece of Innocent Pink, and I'm going to cut this down to 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So this would just be an A2 size card, right? Because we would fold that in half. We would normally score that at the 4.25 inch mark and fold it in half. But if you wanted to make a gatefold card, you would score this at the 2 1/8 of an inch mark. So 2 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Then you would turn the whole panel and you would score it at 2 1/8 of an inch again. And when you add 2 1/8 plus 2 1/8, you get 4 1/4. So that gives you your 4 1/4 by 5.5 A2 size. But because you put those score lines in where you do, that'll give you a gatefold card. So if you're doing a gatefold card like this, you can cut the windows out of this A2 card and you can have it fold in the center like this. So let's do that and I'll show you how you would do that to make it easy. Okay, so I grabbed a die cutting machine from our classroom kits that sometimes when we travel and do classes, we take some die cutting machines. I don't even know if this machine works, but I took my extra die cutting machine from here home so Rena and I could make her wedding invitations because we were both die cutting and I forgot to bring it back. So tonight I am using a brand new die cutting machine with a brand new cutting mat, but I don't know if this was in a broken pile because sometimes, things happen, or if this was just in a classroom pile. So we'll see if it works. It should work. So now what I'm going to do here, let me move this out of the way first. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay this out, and I can kind of flex it back so it lays a little bit more flat. And I am going to place this die right onto this panel. Now, the score line is right here, so I'm going to center it onto this panel, and then I'm going to tack it down with a little bit of masking magic. Okay, then I'm going to run it through the die cutting machine and hopefully, see, I'm shedding and I have static. All right, then I'm going to run it through this die cutting machine Actually, that didn't hold down, so let's just reposition that so that looks centered. I might use a little pixie tape. I never like to use anything too tacky though when I'm die cutting, because the pressure of the die cutting machine certainly adds enough pressure that it can make any other tape tear. Okay, so I'm going to put this down and I'm going to cut this out. Looks like it's working just fine. Now, I'm going to flip it and cut it again just in case, you never know. Our 100-pound cardstock is a little on the thick side, so by flipping it and giving it a second pass through, we should be sure to get a decent cut. All right, so let's see here. Did we get it? No, we did not. Okay, maybe this was... I never know if these are broken machines or not when they're just sitting every once in a while. Okay, we're going to tighten that up, and we're going to cut that again. Let me just position that back over that same spot, and we'll cut it a second time here. I just need to tighten it. Every once in a while, we get a machine that somebody broke, and we pile them up. We save them for parts. So if somebody loses a handle or somebody needs something, we do that. So I never know what I'm dealing with here, but I think this should have cut out okay. All right. I just needed to tighten it a little bit. It was set kind of loose. Okay, so you can see now all of this is falling right out. Let's go ahead and use the pick and stick tool for this. And look at this gorgeous window this leaves behind. It's very much like a window. Isn't that beautiful? That is just stunning. I love it so much.
Wow.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, and when I clean these out, Rena was laughing at me because I was doing this when we were making our invitations. We made like 91 invitations the other night. I just toss it like that and all the bits and pieces come out. And it feels really good too. You can get your frustrations out by just tossing it. It feels so good. She took a video of me doing that. She thought it was the funniest thing. But I think it's a great way to get rid of all the little pieces that are inside. Okay, now we're going to line this up, and we have to use the other side now. So that's this side. We're going to line it up so that it looks like it's going to be perfect. Looks pretty good. And then I'm going to use Masking Magic again here. Hopefully I can get this to stick better. If not, I'll move to pixie tape. Okay. And then I'm going to pick this whole thing up and place that onto the cutting mat. So I used the other die cut side to try to match it up the best that I could. So let's see how this looks now. I think it's going to be close, but I just wanted to make sure it was the same spot from the top and the bottom. Okay. So now, let me get the die cutting machine back again. And we did the die this way because you can't have this all on one die or you're going to cut all the way through to the back, right? Yes, we will be sharing the wedding invitations that we made when Rena comes on the show. So we're going to do that. We're going to make one for you and show you how we did it. Okay, so I think this is fine. What number did you use to die cut? I have it on die cut and I have it at around the -2 mark. Hopefully we got a good cut here. I think we did. Okay. And we'll poke all of these things out. This is, to me, this die is just so stunning. and it makes a beautiful gatefold card. And especially if you're making an A2 card, let's go ahead and recrease our gatefold. So we'll go ahead and add that crease back in because we did flatten it out a little bit. And we'll recrease this side. And you can see now we've got that beautiful gatefold die. Beautiful. And you could put anything you want on the inside. You know, you can put a quarter sheet of cardstock that maybe you do like, this is not really a full quarter sheet. I would cut something down a little bit, like maybe use Master Layouts 1. I'll do a little bit of something smaller. But you could put clouds on there and you could mount that on the inside, and then from the outside that would look just beautiful. So any kind of background you want to do in there would be stunning. You can also put vellum behind here if you want to kind of make it look a little bit more frosted glass in here so that it kind of looks like maybe a front door, a very fancy front door. Okay. All right. And then that is a great way to do just a simple gatefold card if you're doing A2 size. Okay, now another thing that you can do is let's cut a bigger panel. Okay, let's cut a panel from Master Layouts 8, which is our A2, I'm sorry, our 5x7 card stock. Master Layout set for a 5x7 card. Here we go. That's this die right here from Master Layouts 8. So this is going to make a 5x7 card. So I'm going to get a white piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to cut this in half off camera. And then I'm going to use Master Layouts 8 to cut this panel out. Okay. So now I have a beautiful stitched Master Layouts 8 panel. Now, if you want to do a full 5x7 look, you can take both of these dies together. Let's just get rid of the junk that was in that one. Okay, so we can put this right here, right up against the edge. And we can put this right here, right up against the edge. You know what? This panel might be a little small. So we can cut a full 5x7. Let's cut a full 5x7. I need this for tonight, for my card that I'm going to make for you tonight using the Master Layout set. But let me just cut a 5x7 for you. So we'll cut a 5x7 because I want to just show you this if you wanted to make it a full 5x7 card. Okay. I got to get the big one because the little one only goes up to 6 inches. So we'll go to 5x7. So this would be a 5x7 card front. Now you could trim this down a little bit smaller if you wanted to, so that you'd still have a little border around the edge of your 5x7. Or you can make this a full 5x7 card. But we are going to put this into the center here, and we're going to line them up so we can cut both of them together. All right, let's get them straight and centered. And we could always trim around the perimeter if we want. Now you can either have them touching like that if you want to cut it that way, but I suggest having just a little bit of space in between them, especially because of what some ideas I'm going to throw at you once we get these cut out. Okay, so that looks pretty good, and that looks pretty even. And again, we can trim this down more if we need to. But I'm going to just tack those down at the top and down here at the bottom. Now I'm going to get the die cutting machine again. And we'll put this on top. And then we're going to cut that out. Now for a card like this, you could turn this into a shaker card if you wanted. I'm going to flip it and send it through a second time, just to be safe. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's great to see all of you coming in. We are getting deep in the throes of our grand garden gate here. Okay, so hopefully we got a good cut, and I think that we did. Now I'm just going to gently peel off this masking magic. And you could see how die cutting really, you know, if you didn't have a low tack tape like this, it would be kind of easy to tear the paper. So we'll take these off. And then you could take this. This is just one panel now. You don't have to worry about it opening or dealing with any of that. And you could put a piece of acetate behind there, and you could turn this into a giant shaker card if you wanted to. You can see how beautiful that cuts out. That's just such a gorgeous look. So you could trim around here to make it a little bit smaller than a 5x7 and trim your own black layer in there. So you can cut it all out together just by lining the two dies up. Okay. You will be able to purchase the Grand Garden Gate by itself when it's not in a kit anymore. The price of it will be $39.95, and the price of the Grand Garden vines will also be $39.95. So if you want both sets that go together, that will be the retail price of these coming out. These are monstrous die sets, and because of all the plates that we did and because of how much steel it takes, because when they do these, they do them like this. When they make them like this. So it takes up this much steel to make this die set. So when we make die sets, it goes by how many square inches of steel each die set is. Where you can see how like a much smaller, like you can't layer a lot of this stuff. It's too tight to get in there. It's just too tight. So that's why this is an expensive one. But we wanted to put it in the kit because we knew the kit would be an unbelievable value. So if you're thinking at all about this and there's anything else in the kit like that heart frame that you like, it's almost as much just to get those three things as it is to get the whole kit, and then you get all the stamps and the dies and the embossing folder and the layering stencils and everything else. Okay. Where can you write something in the card? Well, you would write, so what you could do is you could put a folded card in here, just a little bit smaller, a folded card in here. So on the outside, you could put your greeting, and I would put the greeting across, but I would only attach it to one side. And then you could open it up and have a tent style card on the inside, like, I'll just throw this in here, something that would open like this on the inside then. But just make it a tiny bit smaller so that you can close the card. So that's where you would write on the inside. For this one, this would actually be the outside of your card, and that 5x7 card would also open up. Okay. So now I want to show you how to use the second part of this die now that you've seen how to use it just with the inside parts. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these in black because these are the ones that I'm going to use for my project tonight. Okay. So I'm going to start. Now, one thing that I learned was I learned after making a million of these the other night that cutting them together is better than cutting the inside piece and then cutting the outside piece because it prevents warping. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tape this down. This is the outside piece. I'm going to tape this down. And then, can you guys see this okay? Yeah, you can. Just make sure I'm not like outside of the camera. All right. Then I'm going to place this on the inside, like this. Okay. And I'm going to pick a spot. And I'm trying to make it like fairly even all around. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Let me explain what I mean. Like from here to here is about the same distance as here to here, as here to here, as here to here. This way I don't have to try to line them up. They'll all be fairly even. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do here. And then I'm going to tape this down here. I'll tape this over here. And you can use your pick and stick tool to kind of shift it around a little bit and make sure that it all looks even. Okay, now I'm going to cut that out. And we did 90 sets of these, so I actually cut like, I don't know, 180 of these. So I'm going to send it through. And then I'm going to send it through the other way. Well, that's why the kit is such a good value. We put these in the kit specifically so that you could get these at a phenomenal price. All right, so now I cut that out. Hopefully, this is all cut properly. And I think it is. And now I'm going to take this whole thing out. And we have a door. We have a panel, okay? This one has to come out here. And on this panel, we have a little flap. And so this is going to be one side of the front of my card. All right. And you can see it's relatively flat because I cut them together. And by cutting them together, that really did keep it a little flatter. All right, so now I'm going to cut the other side. And this piece may be just a little small. I'm going to show you how to assemble this. And then I actually am going to take it apart and make the card a little bit different. Maybe I'll just cut another set. We'll see. We're not in any hurry tonight. Tonight is a relaxing crafting night. So, and we'll show you this technique again when we make Rena's cards, because the wedding card, because this is exactly what we did for her wedding card, but we have to show you what we did on the inside because it's pretty cool. Okay, now, all right. So we'll put that there just to hold that down. That up there to hold that down. And for this, like if this isn't strong enough, you can always use pixie tape for this, because this doesn't matter if the outside tears, because you don't have to worry about that. So that could actually hold down a little bit tighter than the masking magic. All right, now once again, we're going to put this panel in here, and we're going to make sure that it looks pretty even all around the perimeter. And that does look pretty good. So I'm going to take this masking magic and tack that down. And this masking magic, let's go ahead and just eke that over just a hair. And tack that down. And then I have to flip these. I'm going to put this on top and send it through. And this is going to give us the other side. Oh, you'll love the kit. It is a great value, and it just has so much stuff in it. It's so fun. And all of the stuff in there can be used anytime. It's not seasonal specific. That's what I love about it. These kinds of dies you can use anytime. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take this apart. Got a lot of stuff going on here. But now there is our other side. So now we've got our two panels that go together with little flaps on the sides. Okay. So let me get this off of here because we don't want to inadvertently throw this die away. That would not that would not be fun, right?
You know that game, Where's Waldo?
Yes.
Well, we could play a game called Where's Zeus?
Where's Zeus? Oh my goodness. Is he hiding in our craft room here at work? Sometimes on Tuesday nights we bring him to work because he's alone so long. Because we go to work pretty early in the morning. And then most days we get home around 5 o'clock. But on these days we get home so late. And he is such a social cat that we feel really bad leaving him home like that for so long. So Tuesday nights sometimes we bring him to work. Is he in the basket? Oh, he's in the basket. A kitty in the basket. How cute is that? He's so cute. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the plain die from Master Layouts. Did I cut the right one? You know what? This would have worked. I cut the wrong stitch die, guys. This is not the Master Layouts 8-stitch die. This is from Master Layouts 17. It's the A6. My idea was right. It would have worked, but I cut the wrong one. I don't know how this die... This is the problem. I don't know how that die got into my Master Layouts 8 bucket, but it did. This is the Master Layouts. Can see the difference between these two dies. Huge difference, right? Master Layouts 8, Master Layouts 17. I need to start putting things away better. All right, so we're going to cut out a white panel using Master Layouts 8. My goodness. Well, at least, I mean, it's better to find out that you can do something than you can't do it, right? Please tell me I'm not the only one that puts their Master Layouts dies back in the wrong bag. Okay, so now we have this one, and let me just show you what I mean, where you could have taken this die and this die, and you could have created an open window there and turned that into a shaker card. See what I mean? That's what I was talking about. Okay, we just made it jumbo. We just made it a huge 5x7. Same look though. So at least you know what I did. Okay, now I'm gonna get a sheet of black cardstock. I'm gonna need a half sheet for this one. And I'm gonna cut out the plain die from Master Layouts 8. I don't know about you guys, but over Christmas, I got so disorganized in my craft room. Here in the studio, I got so disorganized. I think it's because I was going live every day. And usually when I go live, the day after I clean up. But there was no day after. Every single day I was going live. And so everything was just a mess. All right, so now I'm going to put this back so I don't lose it. And I want to show you a fun little way that we can assemble this if we want to. So this is a way that we can assemble this so that the gate opens to reveal something really cool. Now, if you had a photograph, say, let's say, yeah, I'm using the bottom plate on the top. So if you had a photograph, say you wanted to hide a photo behind the gates, you could do that. You could put a photo in here and then have the gates open so that you could reveal the whole photo. Maybe you had an invitation that you wanted to put in here, and you could do the same thing where the gates would open and then there'd be an invitation. Or anything else. Maybe you want to create a scene back here of flowers and things, and then you want to open it. So that's what we're going to do. Now, there is a score line that scores along here, but the score lines that dies make are never as deep as we really need them to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to create our own score line for this. I'm just going to find a spot here to score. And I'm going to enhance that score line a little bit just by kind of going down that way. Once I can see it a little better, then I can flip it over. It's really hard to see in this lighting in this room, but normally I can see it pretty well. I mean, we did a lot of these and we didn't have any problem seeing. So there we go. I enhanced the score line a little bit. Then I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to take my tool and I'm just going to press that down so it's nice and flat. Okay, so now I have my gate. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. I'm going to get that score line up against a score line, and I'm going to add some additional scoring there just to make it deeper. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to press that score line in. Like that. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap this. I'm going to put it down at the bottom and I'm going to wrap it around the side of the card back here. I'm going to wrap that around, so I'll tape it onto the back. So I'll just use some tape. You could use score tape or terrific tape or whatever you want to do. Okay. And then I'm just going to put that right up against the bottom. And wrap that around like that. Okay. Now I'm going to do the other side the same way. Like that. And then I'm going to wrap that around the bottom here. Like that. Then this whole thing is going to go onto the black panel, and that black will just kind of blend right into the black. And then you can open your gatefold like that. Does that make sense? This is not the card that I want to make tonight, but I want to show you how to use this. And this is what we're going to show you. We're going to show you how to do this during the live that I do with Rena. But I just wanted to show you this. And then you can tape this all down here. Tape it across. You can use terrific tape or score tape if you want it to be a little stronger. And this whole thing would go onto here like that. And then you'd be able to open your gate like that and put the whole thing on a 5x7 card. And then if you wanted, you could even put a belly band around it just by measuring out 5 1/8, 5 1/8, and a little extra and just tack it all down. You could put a belly band on it so that they would have to slip the belly band off. You could also tie it closed with a little bit of some sort of string. I have a nice stretchy string, which I really like, but you could certainly tie it shut if you wanted with a little ribbon. Just kind of do a quick little tie in a bow that they could open when they open the card. Just to have that shut like that. Okay, so that's another way to use the gates where the gate actually opens. And it's really kind of cool because it can sit up, or you could put it on the fridge open like this with whatever information that you have in there. And that's kind of a nice way to display it. Like if it is an invitation, you could just open those gates up and have the invitation in there. So that's kind of fun. All right, so now let's see, can I use the same parts to make the card I really want to make? I think I might be able to. Let's see. Let's see if I can. If not, I'm happy to die cut a little bit more. All right, so what I want to do here is I still want to use the outside piece, but I want to trim off this part here. So you can use it that way too, by trimming off these flaps. So let's cut new ones because they're so sticky, and it'll give you another opportunity to see them get cut. I don't think that will take up too much time. I probably should have left that card all put together. But yeah, a belly band, a little belly band around the outside. All you have to do is measure how wide the card is, which is 5 inches wide. Add 1/8 of an inch, so 5 1/8. So I would go like, I'd cut like a 10.5 inch strip. I would score it at 5 1/8, 5 1/8, and then that little bit that's left over, you can just tuck it underneath with some score tape or terrific tape, and that just makes a loop. And then you could put a die cut circle on there with a greeting, you're invited, or let's celebrate, whatever you want. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I want these to look like wrought iron, so I am going to go with the black again. And I told Rena I was never going to cut another one of these again after how many we made together. It was so funny. By the end, we did them all in one night too, and by the end, we were just loopy from die cutting. I said, I'll never cut another one of these again, except on my live, because I have to show people how to make them. But you guys know what that's like, right? Whenever you have to make like 100 of something, you're like, I need a break from making that particular card for a little bit. Okay, so again, I'm lining these up on the inside here. And this is because I want them to be cut out this time. The full curve I want cut out, not just cut through. I don't want just the detail to be cut through or just cut through like this. I want it to be cut out completely. Okay, so put that in there, and then we'll go ahead and cut. So Rena sketched out exactly what she wanted. And then she and Brian is our art director. He is an amazing graphic designer and an amazing artist. And so Rena sketched out what she wanted it to look like, and Brian turned it into a vector file that could be turned into a die. So it was her idea of what she wanted, but it was Brian who actually made it come to life, that we actually had something we could send into the manufacturer. So that's pretty cool. And it's pretty ornate, which is exactly what Rena likes. She's a Renaissance girl. She likes all very dramatic stuff. So garden-themed wedding for sure. Okay, so we're going to pull that out, and we're just going to pop out those extra pieces there. You can see it cuts really nicely. There it is, all cut out. That's our one side. Now we're going to cut out the other side. So yes and no, I guess, is the answer to that question. She did design it, but she drew it on paper, and then Brian actually drew it digitally to make it work for dies. It's quite a process designing dies. I've designed all of our master layouts dies myself, and I am like a make-believe graphic designer. I know how to use all the software. I know how to use the things and draw the things. But I am not somebody that can draw with a pen or a pencil like my daughter Alicia can. She can draw anything. She could draw that with a pencil and it would look just like it. So we all have our skills, right? So I'm not as skilled as an artist that can do a pen or a pencil. That to me is amazing. And Alicia designs all of our layering stencils, which I love. I don't like to cut them both at the same time because I like to have a little bit more control, and I feel like I can actually, when I flip it, I can hold on to the one spot where that die is, and nothing's going to shimmy or shift in there. So I like to do one at a time. If you feel comfortable doing both at the same time, you certainly can. There's no reason why you can't. It's just a comfort level for me. Once I get this far, I don't want to find out that one of them shifted. So it's a me thing. It's a me problem. All right, so we're going to take this off, and here we go. Okay, so now we have our other gate right there. We've got the two of them. And let's clean it. There we go. Pretty clean. And we'll just get rid of this stuff. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut those flaps off using the paper cutter. And this is because I don't want my gate to open. I want to make a black gate on a white card panel, so I definitely want the outside part of this die. I need these loops going around for the outside, but I don't want it to open. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is just another way that you can use it. There's quite a few ways that you can use it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip this die over, and die cut over, and I'm going to go right up to the top, and then I'm looking at the side here, right here, like you could see me almost like looking sideways at that to make sure that I'm right up against the blade. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. So I have a pretty good, kind of got rid of that, and that looks pretty good, and I didn't cut like too much off the side, so it keeps all of these iron looking bars the same. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to go right up to that top and make sure it's straight across the top, and then using my finger, like I'm pushing it back until it's right up against the blade on the side here. And then I'm going to cut that one off.
Question, will there be master layout dies for A6 or A7 designs this year?
That is our plan.
That's the plan.
Yep.
And we do have some kits left, don't we?
We do. We have some kits left. Yes, we did a lot of these kits because we knew that a lot of people would want this. I'm going to just trim this a tiny bit more because I see a tiny little nub that I don't like. And this is where it gets shaky, right? Because this is like cutting bangs, and you're like, I'm just going to cut them a tiny bit more. And then you're like, oh, I shouldn't have cut any more, but I got to do it. Yes, we knew this kit was such a good value that we did order a few extras, and we also wanted to make sure that in our February release that we would have some to be able to sell separately. I don't know if they'll last because we are starting to get a little low on the kit, but if they do last, then we'll definitely have some that we can sell. If not, it might take a little longer to get everything in because of Chinese New Year. Most of the factories closed down for a couple weeks in February, and that does make it difficult for us to get reorders, but we never know what we need to reorder until after something sells or doesn't sell. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do clouds down the back of this. Now, this is the one that I pulled off of this black panel to take these out. I'm going to put it back on the black panel before I do this, and only because I can ink any color I want using dye ink over black and you're not going to see it. But I don't want it to be sticky like this and just stick to my work surface. So let's get it mounted onto the black panel from Master Layouts 8. And then I'll do my ink blending. There we go. Looks pretty good. Okay. So I'm going to use our sticky mat for this. You can also use a grit mat, or if you want to just put a little bit of tape behind here, you certainly can, and stick it down on a piece of scrap paper. And then I'm going to use one of our stencils. Now we have two different stencils that I often use for clouds. We have the beautiful backdrops. That's this one. And then that makes like kind of flatter clouds, a little bit flatter. And this one makes a little bit puffier clouds. You can see they come up a little bit higher than this one. And they're very different from each other. So if you want to use them together, you can, and there's no chance of them looking similar on the way down. But for this card, I'll use this one. This is our Sea, Sun, and Sky stencil. And then I'm going to use some sea glass ink for this. And I'm going to get a turquoise blending tool. And I'm going to do clouds going down the whole face of this card. So we'll ink this up with some sea glass. Okay. And remember, when you're ink blending on this cloud stencil, you want to start on the stencil itself. Okay, you don't want to start on the cardstock. And then you just gently want to just let the bristles of the blending brush just gently go over the edge. Like that. Okay, and now I'm going to move the stencil so that it doesn't look exactly the same with each row. I don't want all the clouds to look exactly the same.
So Marianne wants to know, when you bang the die on the table, is there a chance that the die gets dented?
No. It's pretty strong. That's a really solid die. No chance. I mean, I don't know how strong you are. Maybe.
Die hard.
But in reality, no. It's not gonna dent. I do that with all of my ornate, very intricate dies, and I've never had a problem. All right, so you can see I'm just working my way down here because I want to have a really pretty sky back here. And I keep moving it side to side so it doesn't look like all the clouds are exactly the same. Okay. I love this stencil so much. There's nothing like a cloud background. We won't worry about that because remember, we're going to have our gate go on top of that. So if there's a little spot, there's a little black fleck on the cardstock. I don't know what it is, but... And then I am going to just take my blending tool and just come up a little bit from the bottom just to finish off the bottom. And a little bit on the top just to finish off the top. Okay, so now... There we go. So I am going to clean this stencil with my paper towels that you all reminded me to get and some alcohol. And one of the questions that I had was, because I use 70% rubbing alcohol, but they said, can I use 91%? I think some pharmacies sell that, or different percentages in different countries, and yeah, it all works the same way. It's not a problem. You can certainly use it. Okay. So now I'm going to place these at the bottom right along the edge, and I'm going to glue them down onto my panel here. So they are going to almost touch. There'll be a little space in between, just a little gap in between like that. So I am going to use some Connect glue for this. Grab some Connect. This Connect had a little bit of a goober on it, but I think we're going to be okay. And when it comes to something like this, I like to have a big acrylic block to put on to hold everything down. So for this, I'm just going to add glue right around the perimeter. I'm going to stop there because my hand is there. And then I'm going to add some glue just around these loose edges, like these little swirls that could pop up. And then I can go here. I can add a little bit in there. I'll go a little bit around this circle, a little bit here. Now you can use that basting brush technique that Kathy Zilski shared, where you cut a basting brush down, one of those silicone brushes, and you just dab glue all over the back if you want. You can use your fingertip and dip it in the glue, or you can use the Connect glue the way I am, just in the fine tip bottle. I find that this works well for me. But whatever works for you. Some people actually die cut things with like an adhesive paper on the back, and then they can peel it away, and that would work too. But I just want to get glue in any areas that could pop up.
I had a question about blocks being back in stock.
They're 4 days away.
Blocks.
The acrylic blocks are 4 days away from getting delivered to us. I just talked to them this morning, actually, and that is what they told me. They said it looks like they're 4 days away, so that's a good thing. All right, so we put that one right along there like that. Now we're going to do the same thing on this side, and we want to have that split in the middle. Okay, so we'll do the other one. Yeah, I know, that's weird. I just checked that. Our warehouse team said, where are these acrylic blocks coming? We ordered those, I think it was in either October of last year, or maybe very early in November, before Black Friday. I know that. We still had a decent inventory of them for Black Friday, but we knew that with Black Friday a lot of them would sell, so we placed a big order. And that's how long some of these things take to come in.
We don't have all the information on all the products, though, when they'll be in. It's tough on a live to...
Yeah.
And
our customer service doesn't know either. They have no clue when stuff is coming in, because we're just at the mercy of the ship and, you know, how long it takes to get through border and customs, and then the tariffs that get billed to us, that has to get paid first. And so it's been a little more difficult than it used to be, but we're doing our best. We really are. We're doing our best. We're trying.
I still think an abandoned bike lock on one of the gates would be a nice urban touch.
I think so too, Tom. That's a great idea. An abandoned bike lock on this beautiful gate. All right. That looks pretty good. It does. It looks nice. Okay, so now we have our gate, and then you can always put an acrylic block on top to hold everything down if anything is popping up. See, we need Tom to make a card, because he would make an abandoned... I think I forgot to put a little glue right under here, so I'm going to try... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little glue on this pin. I can't squeeze. I'm weak with my left hand. Why is that? Because I'm not left-handed. That's why. Okay. Here we go. Got some on there. Actually. See if I can get some. Is this not the glue I was just using? There we go. Okay. down. There we go. Oh my goodness, that was like doing surgery. I could have just put the glue on right the first time. Now, let's die cut a couple of the vines. So, we'll move this out of the way. And the nice thing about these vines and these leaves and stuff is that you can, like I said, you can cut a bunch of them out at once. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to use the ivy, and I'd like to use these flowers, which are kind of like that tulipy shape that I was talking about. And I want to do some greens and some reds for this. And then I'm going to also cut these out. These are extra little ivy leaves, and I want to cut those in a different color. Okay. And then I'll leave this for another video because there is just so much that you can do with this. And as much as I would love to do it all tonight, I think I'm going to save some for another video because there's just a lot you can make. All right, so I'm going to use 2 colors for the greenery. I'm going to use some fresh asparagus for these vines, and I don't need quite this big of a piece, so I can do all these die cut pieces at once. So I'll just take this down a little bit. I'll use fresh asparagus. Where is my thing? Here it is. We'll get this all set up. So fresh asparagus with these. These are the 2 ivy swags. And then I think I'm going to use some jelly bean. Let me see if I can find some jelly bean green. Let me grab my greens here. I'll grab the greens and the reds. So I've got all kinds of greens in here. I must have a jelly bean. Here's a jelly bean. I'm going to add a little bit of jelly bean. And I only need a small little piece of that. So I'll put that there, and we'll put these leaves. That's these little ivy leaves. And then I'm going to pick a red, and I want it to be a nice bright red. So I think I'll use some Red Hot. I've got Red Hot in here. This is Red Hot. It's really vibrant. And I'm going to cut more than one of those out, but I'm going to have to take a separate pass on that because that one cuts 3 out. Okay, so we'll cut all of those out together, and it automatically puts the little creases in too. It's great to see all of you. I see that people keep coming together. Why didn't I put the gates closer together? I kind of liked the little separation, but you can put yours close together if you want. There's no rules. You can put yours close together.
All right, who's ready? Who's ready for the word of the day?
Can I just show them something real quick first?
Oh, no.
Is the music playing?
No.
Okay. Can you see the indentations in there? Does that show up, Tom, on the screen?
It does.
Okay. So I just wanted to show you how it does emboss at the same time as it cuts. Okay, let it rip.
It's time for...
Word of the day, oh hey,
It's time for...
Uh-oh.
Here we go. We'll start that over.
word of the day, oh hey, hooray, let's laugh it up, don't delay. Word of the day, it's here to stay.
Okay. So, I got it together here. So, Gina,
Yes.
what could a person do if their mother was having a bad day or just needed some cheering up, needed some spicing up? Spice up the day for their mom. What could they do? I'll tell you what they could do. I'll tell you what they could do. They could just send a card to mom.
Oh my God.
Send a card to mom.
That's very cute.
I'm going back to the dead space.
Bye-bye. goodness.
It's here to stay.
It's here to stay. Oh, good. It's good to know. Okay, so I have all my little red flowers cut out. And I have some extra little leaves cut out. I think I'm going to cut a couple more little leaves. And I'm going to cut 2 more of these fresh asparagus swaggy things. So, cardamom. Well, you didn't give me a chance to answer, and I was going to say something very similar. Not cardamom. I was going to say buy her a gift card to her favorite stamp store. But a cardamom is good. So funny. Okay, so I have some extra little leaves. I'm just popping out over here onto the side. Getting all my stuff. But you can see with just a couple passes of the die cutting machine, I've got lots of greenery and lots of flowers here that I can use for my card. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to put those away for now. And we're going to come back and do a greeting in just a little bit. Boy, that is clean on the bottom, that die cutting machine. Now, I'm going to cut a card base too and get this card already mounted on a card base. So we're going with the 5x7. So a 5x7 card base requires a cut that is 10x7. So we'll do a 10x7. And then keep those. We'll score that at the 5-inch mark. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'm using a white card base because I really want all the color to come from the greenery. So we've got that at 5 inches. We'll fold that. And we'll go ahead and press that score line down. Okay. So this should be plenty dry by now, and that's going to go in the center here. So now I have my beautiful gate. And I need some tape runner. Okay. So I really liked the way the gate looked in white, but when Rena and I were making her invitations, she fell in love with the black because she thought it looked like wrought iron. And I had to agree with her. It really does look pretty with the black. So that's what we decided to go with. Now I'm going to organize these. They're different. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to drape these over the gate, like down here a little bit, like that. Like it's climbing up the gate. And then I think I'll do a second one and just have it like wrap around like that. And I'll do this one so that it meets and that it wraps around the same way. It kind of comes in like almost like a loop in the center. So that's so fun. So we'll go ahead and we'll just put some dots of glue on the back of these.
Somebody has to break out one of the critter stamp sets and have a puppy looking through the gate or something.
Yes, or a kitty. Yeah, that would be so cute. Maybe one of Dina's sets or Debbie's. Okay, so we'll pop that on there like that. I'll just hold it down for a second. Let's do the 2 top ones first. But I think this would make a really beautiful wedding card, not necessarily an invitation. It could be a wedding card. It could be an anniversary card. It would also make a beautiful birthday card, thank you card, a get well card. So many different uses for this. It's just beautiful. And I'm just lining those leaves up so they kind of match at the top there. And then I'll just pop them down. Like that. Okay. Now we could go all the way down. We could also trim these so they don't go quite as far. You know, we could just pick a spot. Let's pick a spot here. I could just trim it right here, like that. And we could just have it go down to maybe this part right there. Especially if you're going to add urns on either side, which you can, because we have that really cool urn die in this set. You could do like a faded brick and make them look like terracotta urns on either side. That's if you want. So we'll just pop that right in there, just in the empty space.
Do we have a stamp of St. Peter anywhere? At a podium?
No, Tom, we don't. At a podium. No, we don't. Thought about it, though. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. Right there. We'll cut that one.
Beware of the human sign.
And we'll put that right there. So it'll come down evenly on that side. Oh my gosh. Tom, you need to make another card for everybody. I think people are ready for... Somebody was asking today, they were like looking for your video in our Facebook group, and they said, I need... Anybody know which video is the shards video?
The shard card.
The shard card that you made. Oh my goodness. That was our 200K celebration video. So I can save these for something else. These would look pretty, like coming down. If I made an urn, they would look really cool, like coming down off the side of the urn. And then you could put flowers in there. So I'll just keep those. You don't have to throw away those parts. Now, let's add some flowers into this. So we'll get a little bit of glue on there, and we'll pop some flowers in.
So much you can do. It would be neat to do a certain shade for the background and then do the gates like one shade lighter or darker.
Oh, yeah. Well, what you can do, too, is you can ink blend. So if you wanted your gates to look a little bit like textured, or maybe had like more than one color in them, you could ink blend over cardstock first, and then you could go ahead and add, or go ahead and die cut it after that. So I'm just adding these little red flowers coming down off of these vines. And I'm changing the position of them, even though they are the same flower. I'm just changing the position of them so they don't look all exactly the same. But that red, that pop of red in there is so pretty. Let's just do this one here. Add just a few more of those. I cut out a dozen of them, but I don't have to use them all. Put one over here. So you can see how pretty this is coming along. It feels very European, doesn't it, Tom? Like a beautiful garden in maybe Italy or France or Spain, Greece.
It does. You could do a courtyard behind it.
Mm-hmm.
With the courtyard set.
All right, we'll add one here. So it's so fun, and it's very relaxing because it feels a little bit like... Do you guys remember when you were little and you had color forms? Who remembers color forms? I loved color forms. Color forms for the young ones who who aren't my age yet. Color forms were like, they were kind of like paper dolls, but they weren't paper dolls because they were this like silicone-y kind of sticky little bits and pieces that you could create a picture, but then you could peel them all off and do a different picture. And oh, I love color forms. And that's what these kinds of die sets kind of remind me of doing color forms and just kind of creating a really flowy look. Now, if you want, you can add some other color leaves in here. So let me show you what I mean. So here's a jelly bean green leaf. So you can brighten up the look a little bit if it's looking a little too dark, and have some two-tone leaves, because in nature not every single leaf is exactly the same color, and some are going to have lighter tones of green, and just the way the light hits things. You could also pop them up with tiny bits of foam tape or foam squares if you wanted, but this just creates a little bit more color into this look here. So I'm just going to add a couple of these just so that we have some extra green in there. And I think that really adds to it.
Yeah, a lot of people loved color forms.
Yeah. See, all the crafty people like that kind of stuff. We all liked when we got crayons and markers and color forms and anything that allowed us to see. We were practicing our card making skills even back then.
I'm probably still working on trying to digest a few of those.
You're such a boy. Oh my goodness. All right, we're just going to do one more of these. And leaves grow over leaves, so don't worry about like piling leaves up. That's totally fine. I think that's enough. Okay, so now let's pick a greeting. I did grab a stamp set that I really like for the front of this because I wanted a big greeting in the front, but I also wanted it to be a little wispy. So I thought if we did the wishing you happiness, this actually would make a really pretty wedding card. And some of you might have weddings coming up in the spring, you know, a niece, a nephew, somebody getting married, grandchild. So wishing you happiness is a great wedding card greeting. But you could also use that for your birthday, or you could use it for anything. Somebody graduating, it'd be a great graduation card, wishing you happiness. They're moving on to the next chapter of their life, right? I'm just going to grab this piece here because I don't have a small piece cut. And so I'm going to do both of those, the wishing you and the happiness. Oh, paper dolls. Yes, I loved paper dolls too. Paper dolls. Do you guys, I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember when you used to get a paper doll book and you had to cut them out with scissors. They didn't punch out. I remember that. My grandmother used to get me those at the 5 and dime. And she would give me a pair of scissors and I would just sit and cut the dolls out and the clothes for them. And oh, that was so much fun. Loved that. When my kids were little, paper dolls were not really a big thing. They had more like fancy toys that you could like dress with like sliding things and all. But they did have some paper dolls, but they were all die cut and they just had to punch them out. Cheaters. We had to suffer. That's where we learned to fussy cut when we were little. We did our first fussy cutting when we were trying to cut out paper dolls. But I loved them. They were fun. They were very fun. But we were entertained by very little as kids, weren't we? Very little. We could keep ourselves busy with a little book of paper dolls at a Christmas event. While all the adults were sitting and having coffee and talking, we could just sit with our paper dolls forever. We had a lot of patience. Okay. Showing my age. Brianne is saying, what? What are you talking about? I love you, Brianne. Okay. Now, I'm going to need the dies for this. So I need the wishing. Oh, please be in here. I see it. And I need the happiness. And I think it's this big one. Yeah, I think that's it.
Tough to compete with our parents, though, as far as getting along without. My dad told me one time.
Here we go. Buckle up, everybody.
He said it was his birthday, and he was like 5 or 6 years old. And he's, Dad, it's my birthday. It's my birthday. And his dad put him in a chair and lifted him up in the chair 6 times. And he thought it was the most amazing present ever.
Oh. Yeah, that's different. That's
right?
Different than us. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Our parents, they didn't have very much, that's for sure. They didn't have very much at all. My dad lived through the Depression, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. And so, you know, they found a way to be happy and to have fun with very, very, very simple things. Nobody had an iPad to keep them busy, that's for sure. Oh, I had fun with such simple things. Jacks. I love jacks. Playing jacks or pick up sticks. Those would keep you busy forever. Okay, so now I'm going to put the wishing you right here in the center of this gate and happiness right under it like that. And that is going to be the layout for my card. And I'm going to mount that with foam squares to give it a little bit of lift. Legos, yeah. Oh, Legos. Legos were fun. I didn't have Legos as a kid, but my kids had Legos. And Legos were awesome.
We lived around factories in the city, and if, you know, not all, there were some like smaller factories, and if they were doing roofing, the guys were on the roof roofing, all the kids would like wait for them. They'd all throw all the balls down that were on the roof.
Oh, so and then you could play with the ball. Oh,
you get this windfall of balls that were on the roof, stranded.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. The good old days where your dad lifted you in a chair for your birthday present.
Boy, that red really does a lot for the black.
Doesn't it?
That's amazing.
Yeah. It also makes me think about gardening too, and how that would look really pretty for a garden. Like if you had a black wrought iron fence around your house, how those red flowers really make everything pop.
Yeah, of course, the slinky.
Oh, the slinky. I loved a good slinky.
You remember the slinky song?
No,
Come on.
I don't.
Slinky, slinky. Oh, a wonderful toy. It's slinky, it's slinky.
I don't remember that.
Oh.
Okay. Now, if you wanted to add embellishments to this card, you certainly could. You could add some, I think, let me just give you a little hint of what it would look like. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't know that it really needs it. But if you wanted to, you could put some gold just in certain spots like that. Right? Let's put another one like right there. You could just add a little bit of gold. Can you guys see that? Those right there. You could do something like that, or silver or black if you wanted them raised and you wanted to add a little bit of shine of some sort. But I'll tell you, this is such an ornate look, and there's just so much going on this card that I don't even think you need like embellishments unless you wanted to do something like the flat sequins up in the sky just to add a little bit of sparkle. But I love the clouds up here. Now, if you wanted also, you could cut some of these out and you could bring these in on the side like this in green. So it would look like there were some like tree branches coming in. You could have them coming down off of the edge like that, you know, so it looked like tree branches kind of coming in. So there's so many different ways that you can mix and match these vines and these leaves and things to create a card. But this is a really pretty card that I think would be a perfect wedding card. You could put your wedding greeting in here, and if you're going to give a gift, you could add that to the inside as well. So we've got our A2 gatefold look, right? We could wrap those little flaps around and make this gate open. Then you would just attach your greeting to one side and it would open. Or you can do more of a shaker style like this. So many different ways to use these beautiful grand garden gate dies and grand garden vine dies. So there you have it. That was so fun.
Wow.
I hope you guys like that. Now we're going to give away a gift card tonight. So if you haven't left a comment yet, you can still get in on the gift card drawing by leaving a comment in the chat. And Tom is going to pick a random winner in just a minute. But before we do that, if you liked tonight's video, and we certainly hope that you did, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up, that really does help our channel. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and all notifications so you never miss another video. Then, if you're not part of our Facebook group, we'd love to have you over there. Our Facebook group is called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. There are 3 questions about card making that you have to answer and agree to the rules, and we'd love to have you. We will let you write in, and then you can see all of the beautiful inspiration by our designers and by our members using Gina K Designs products. Then a big shout out to Brianne Loveland. Brianne, thank you so much for sharing the links for the products that I used tonight. These dies are all in our card kit. It's the new mega card kit called Cheerful Garden. It's got so much stuff in it, so check it out on the website. And if you missed Brianne's link to that, you can always find it by going right to our website at ginakdesigns.com. All right, Tom, let's give away a gift card.
All right. Zeus, wake up. Okay. Drum roll, please. And tonight's winner is Beth D 6956. Beth, yay!
Beth, congratulations, Beth! Beth, you are our winner. All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will get a $15 gift card sent out to you right away. You can use it right away, or you can save it for any time because they don't expire. So you can save it for our next release if you want. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun tonight. We are so grateful that you joined us. Tom and I will be back on Thursday with another Stamp and Chat Live. And until then, we hope you'll stay safe, healthy, and warm. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.